Good evening and welcome to Information Please, your Peoria Public Library on the air, bringing you information about your library and your community. This evening, my guest is Mitch Williams. He's a magician and he's an author. And we're going to talk a little bit about our Homegrown Holiday Author Fair, and then we're going to get deeply into Mitch's magic. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, it's good to be here.
Yeah, I kind of want you to come because you're one of the authors who will be at our Homegrown Holiday Author Fair, which this is, we've done this a few times where we've had local authors all come on the same day at the same time, and this one is on Sunday, December 9th from 1 to 4 at North Branch in the McKenzie Room. And so when people come, they can go shopping, have like up to 20 local authors in one place at one time, and you're of course one of them.
Yes.
So you get to meet a lot of people, and people can do their holiday shopping, and they can also, I guess, that all the authors are going to take turns speaking, or some of them are, in the seminar room. So you can go back and forth from where all the tables and the individual talking is to the seminar room at North Branch and hear people speak. Are you going to be speaking about
I do
book?
believe so, yes.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Well, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your book?
Well, my book is called A Call to Magic. And it is kind of a culmination of all my work over the years and study over the years of the self-improvement field and peak performance and creativity and inspiration and those kinds of topics. And I've kind of taken all of my knowledge of my studies that I've done and put it all together into a book that is about my philosophies of what I call magic. But I'm really talking about the real magic of human potentials.
Oh, okay. And that's another thing that's a little bit misleading when we just say you're a magician. And there's so much more to what you do than just a few tricks, although you're pretty good at those tricks too. And so maybe you could convince me that you're good with those tricks.
I'm sure I could, yes. You know, one of the things that I talk about in my book, I use magic as kind of a metaphor for a lot of different things, but in particular, I talk about it in two particular regards, and that is that magic represents the illusion of the things that seem real that aren't, and that really has to do with our perceptions, how we perceive things. And unfortunately, we think that our perceptions actually reflect reality, and that's not really the case, because our perceptions are always inaccurate of the world. But we base our beliefs on those misperceptions, and then we act on those beliefs as though they were real. And that can become a problem if we don't realize what we're doing.
Yes.
So it's good to keep an open mind about our beliefs because of that. And the other side of magic that I think is important is that magic really speaks to what is possible, that infinite possibilities of those things that we think are impossible that maybe aren't. You know, to go beyond what we normally think of as possible.
To stretch yourself a little bit.
And one of the major themes in the book is simply the experience of being in the moment. And I find that when I perform magic for people, that magic brings people into the moment. There's an experience of wonder, of awe that comes into play. And we're in that moment. And part of the problem in our normal perspective on things is that we spend a lot of our time in time. In other words, we're focused on the past and the future instead of really being present right here and now.
What you're doing right now.
Yes. And when we are present here and now, we're much more functional, first of all, but our experience is completely different. That's where the source of any true inspiration, any true creativity is. It's when we're really focused in the here and now and not thinking about, feeling guilty or bad about something that happened in the past, or feeling anxious about something that we anticipate in the future.
Yes.
And So that experience of time, I think magic has a one-to-one relationship with. And in fact, let me show you a little something that kind of illustrates this in a way. And this is some magic. This is a standard deck of bicycle playing cards. But really, these are just to illustrate a certain idea that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Now, if we think of these cards as individual moments in time, the way that we experience time is that each moment passes through our experience, and we tend to remember things in the past, and we anticipate things in the future. But it's really only that now moment that's important. So let's start with this.
Okay.
We need a card that will represent the future, first of all. Okay. So just slide out any one of the cards. This one?
That one.
Okay. Now I don't want you to look at that card, though.
Okay.
Do you understand why?
Yeah.
It represents the future.
Right. So I can't know.
And we don't know what the future holds.
Okay.
In fact, let me tuck that away here inside my wallet. And we will get back to that at some time
in the future.
But we also need a card that will represent now, this present moment, because that's the important time. That's really the only time there ever is. So what I'll do is I'm going to riffle through these moments in time, and whenever you feel like it, just say now.
Okay.
And we'll stop and we'll use the wherever you...
Now.
Right there. Okay. Just take that card, take a look at it, show it to the folks at home. And it's okay if I see it. It's not that kind of a thing we're doing here. But to make this a very memorable moment, I'd like you to personalize it. Just write your name on the front there, nice big letters so everyone can see it.
Okay.
Perfect. So I can see that. Now, if you wouldn't mind, take your card and put it on the top of the deck right there.
Okay.
Now, we'll get back to this in just a second, but for now, I'm going to put your card into the center of the deck.
Okay.
Now, at this particular moment in time, your card, we know, can't be on the top of the deck or the bottom of the deck. But if we could go back in time, now I know that's not really possible because all the moments that we experience are not really in the past, they're in the now. Even the ones that we remember, when we experience them, we're now. But if we could go back in time...
You sure this isn't a sci-fi book?
If we could go back in time to that moment, let's say when you put your card on top, well then your card would be on top.
Time travel.
Well, let's try this again. Let's try this again.
Okay.
I'll put this back into the center.
All right.
And at this moment in time, if you were to turn over the top card, you'd see that your card is not on top.
Right.
Right? It's also not second, third, or even fourth.
Okay.
But if we could go back in time, back to that moment when you put your card on top, well, then it would be on top.
On top.
Actually, we could go further than that. We could go back before you put your card on top. In fact, remember before that I handed you the marker?
Yes.
The reason I handed you the marker was because at that particular moment in time, your card, the Ten of Hearts, didn't yet have your name written on it. We can go even further than that.
Okay.
We can go back before you signed the card. We could even go back before you even chose the card. Although if we did that, then it wouldn't even be here, would it?
That's not. Very good.
Well, let's forget all that.
Okay.
Because it's in the past. And we want to focus on the now. So let's start all over.
Okay.
Just say now.
Now.
Right there. Okay. Take that card, show it to the camera. Oh. Well, you know, you couldn't help but choose the same card because time tends to run in cycles over and over again. Okay, let's go forward. After you chose the card, that was when I handed you the marker.
Right.
That was so that you could sign your name on the marker, on the card rather. And then I had you take your card and put it on the top of the deck.
Right.
Go ahead. And then, I took your card and I put it into the center of the deck. And then we went back in time to when it was on the top of the deck, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah. You know, I guess we could go on like this.
What time is it?
Does anyone really know?
No.
We could go on like this almost forever, going forward and backwards in time, except we know that's not possible, so I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
But there is one thing that is possible. Remember when we started all this, I had you take out a card
Yes.
that was going to represent the unknown future. And I put that over here inside my wallet. Well, it's true. In fact, it's inevitable that sooner or later the unknown future must inevitably become the present.
There it is. The future is the present. So now, I assume your book doesn't tell how to do card tricks.
Not at all.
But it tells the philosophy.
Yes, the philosophy of what I call magic, which is, reaching beyond our own thoughts of what's possible to go a little deeper, a little further beyond. And that experience of time and now is one of the things that I talk about a little bit.
Very good.
Because Einstein even told us that time doesn't really exist in the way that we experience it. It's all relative to our point of reference. And like our perceptions of the world, if we can step outside of that normal perspective and bring our experience into the now, which happens when we experience wonder, what Abraham Maslow called a peak experience. That's a source of inspiration, that's a source of creativity, that's a source of aspiration of being more and being all that we can be. So those are some of the things that I talk about in the book.
Okay. And the other thing is when you talk about magic and you've worked with artists and creativity a lot as well as just ordinary people, and so you were able to be a part of October with Peoria's wonderful arts campaign.
Yes, I've become very involved in the arts community in Central Illinois, and even worked on a committee to put together the All About the Arts campaign that went on during Arts and Humanities Month and National Arts and Humanities Month in October.
Right.
And we have a slide, I believe, of
There it is.
a photo of me. This was one of the slides of many that were featured in October of different artists and art supporters. And it was all about the arts do whatever it is the arts do for that individual.
People came up with ideas of what the arts did for them.
And this was a photograph by photographer Craig Stocks. He does some really wonderful stuff, and he was on the committee with me as well. And he was one of the people that helped put all this together. But he does some amazing stuff, and this was one of them.
That's great. And I believe there's posters and things available.
Yes,
still?
they have a poster that has all of the slides all on one poster, and some of them are just amazing.
Pardon me.
So you can get that. I believe you can find that on the Arts Partners website and their Facebook page.
Right, and of course the Peoria Public Library, in our new form, we always did have a small gallery, but in our new form we have a wonderful, big, huge gallery. And we've been able to do so much with the arts. And in October, we had a wonderful exhibit of paintings. In November, we have veterans art. And it's just amazing the different people who come in. And that's a moment of wonder, I think.
Yes.
When people come to the gallery and they see what people from Central Illinois can do, and their thoughts and their visions and the emotions that the veterans art exhibit, expressions of those who've served, had so many pieces that people were working through their experiences during war, or people who were artists who happened to serve. But the variety of things there, as well as even when we had our quilt show and the fiber arts, the amazing things people do and the ideas, and you think, I never would have thought of that. And it does. Right there in Peoria Public Library, you can have a moment of wonder, just seeing what the people who live around you can produce and do. And we're so happy that we have this wonderful new facility that lets people who maybe will never have an art show, will never sell a painting or a quilt or whatever it is they're doing, a sculpture, to be able to have other people look at and enjoy their work. Of course, we use that gallery for, history and science too, but mostly it's an opportunity to share what people from Central Illinois can do.
I have a whole chapter in my book on art and the magic of art and how it inspires us and how it touches us in so many different ways, and how art also drives our economy and how it drives our education, and how children that have arts-rich education programs do better across the board scholastically. So art is something that really touches us on so many more levels than we normally think of.
Yeah, people a lot of times dismiss art as something frivolous or something that we can do without, and we really, really can't. And that's what this campaign was about, showing. And
we're using this campaign with a few other opportunities too. I believe that there's a video slideshow version of all the different slides that's going to be projected on the big screen at the Riverfront Museum sometime this month. So we're trying to capitalize on this campaign as much as we can.
Yeah, a lot of work went into it and a lot of moments of wonder, I think.
Yes.
And I'm sure even though you amaze people with what you do and create wonder, I'm sure that you also have been amazed by the things you've seen other artists do.
Yeah, well, I'm inspired in my work by a lot of different types of art and a lot of different types of creativity. And I try to take those variety of influences and bring them into what I do. And I think that can be true for anyone and everyone if we really understand that we are by nature creative beings. And that's the magic of being human.
Yes.
It's being able to tap into that and bring it into our everyday lives so that any moment can be a moment of wonder. If we're really paying attention to each moment, there is something inspiring there at any time.
Yeah.
And those little coincidences can often be so powerful. When you're paying attention, it's amazing what happens. In fact, on the drive over here today to the interview, I was listening to the Diane Reeves show on WCBU, and she had a guest, an author named Wendell Berry, I believe, and he did a reading from one of his books on the experience we have when people we're close to die, and how life-changing that is for us, and how we learn to value life in a different way. And one of the callers that called in a few minutes later said that she was just on the way to the airport to go to her father's funeral, who had just died this morning, and it had touched her in a deep way. So there was those little connections, those moments of wonder that seem like coincidence, but I don't think they are.
No, they're not. And the library is one of the places that people can continually, not only in our art gallery, but the books you read, the movies you come and see, the programs where you share ideas with other people. The library is all about lifelong learning and continuing to have moments of wonder no matter what you're doing. And that's why people who use the library, they have their library card. Yeah, they might have paid their property tax, but you cannot put a price on what, as a community resource, what our library is all about.
When I think of the opportunity of being able to just go to the library and give someone my library card and get all of this vast information, when I was a kid, I discovered they have a place where they keep all the magic secrets. It's called the library. And did you know they have a special place at the library where they keep all the magic books?
Yeah.
I think it's right around 793.7.
I was going to say, you're going to tell me the number, aren't you? Yeah. Do you have a coffee mug with your number on it? Because that's been a popular thing, as people put their Dewey Decimal number for their favorite thing on their mug, and see who else knows.
But the library has always inspired me. It's such a wonderful resource. Anything you want to learn about is there, and anything you want to be inspired by is there.
Well, and that's one of the reasons we're doing the Homegrown Holiday Author Fair, is because local authors, some of them are big time, some of them are self-published, some of them are barely published, wide variety of people. And we have our local history and genealogy collection, which we try to get a copy of anything written by a Peorian or about Peoria and put it in that collection so it's there, because sometimes local authors don't make it big and their work comes and goes. But having our Homegrown Holiday Author Fair gives people a chance to see, again, just like the art gallery, how much talent there is, how many different ideas become inspired. And again, we'll let people know that that's on December 9th from 1 to 4 at North Branch, and it's free to come. And if you decide to make a purchase, everything, a portion of the proceeds from every sale that's made go back to support our Friends of the Library.
Yes. Which,
of course, tight budget these days, bad economy. If we didn't have our Friends of the Library doing this kind of thing for us, there's so many programs we wouldn't even be able to present. And they work so hard. They sell discarded books and donated books for a dime and a quarter, and accumulate enough money to let us do so many things like summer reading and children's programs, and it's great. And of course, we always use more volunteers. Maybe use some magic to get some more volunteers for the Friends of the Library, because they could use that help. But, well, you also have a website that can tell people a lot more about what you do and your ideas.
I actually have two websites now.
Oh, all right.
My regular website is mitchwilliamsmagic.com. That's about my magic programs. My brand new website is called mitchinspires.com.
Okay.
And I'm moving more into the speaking market, where I'm doing inspirational and educational speaking combined with magic to illustrate a lot of the main topics that I talk about, and to make it fun and interesting, because they've proven that information that is presented in really emotionally engaging ways is going to be remembered better and longer than information that's just delivered in some dry talk.
Somebody stand up there and just natter on about a topic and everybody's asleep, or they've got the cell phone playing Angry Birds or on Facebook underneath the underneath the table these days. It used to be doodling or whatever, or sneak out and don't come back. So yeah, that's a wonderful idea to wrap an exciting presentation in something that people remember and give them little clues of why it's important and why they should remember it. So
yeah, even in my standard entertainment programs, I've always combined something of a message in the entertainment and the magic that I do, I started expanding many years ago into doing more thematic programs, educational and motivational programs, and so I'm moving more and more into that arena with what I do.
And what audiences do you feel can benefit from the types of messages you have?
Well, a lot of different audiences. Corporate groups I've worked for a lot, and whether it's motivating their employees or their sales staff, or introducing a new idea to their staff, or just getting them to be a little more creative. That's one group. I also do programs for school children, educational and motivational programs for them.
That's got to be fun.
I do library programs that's themed around reading. Also do colleges and service organizations, and also have programs that are appropriate for like after dinner speakers or keynote speech at a conference or meeting. Things like that. So, and those are just some of them, but some of the main ones.
Some of the things you can do that bring a moment of wonder and inspiration to people.
Sure.
Yeah, that's great. How did you ever even get involved in magic? I mean, this is going way back in our deck of cards, and maybe you don't remember precisely.
I
remember that moment in time.
I don't remember one particular moment in time, because I've always been involved in magic in some capacity. Some of my earliest memories involve magic.
Was there somebody around you, an adult around you?
Actually,
that was involved in magic?
my uncle was a magician, although I didn't have any direct influence from him, because he was my dad's brother. My dad knew a couple of magic tricks, and he showed them to me when I was really young, and I just kind of caught the bug, I think, and went from there. And like I said, I would go to the library and check out the books, and I built my own magic props, all from books at the library. I taught myself a lot of the stuff that I did initially.
Oh, so you didn't go to magician school?
I did later, actually.
Later you did?
I actually did, yes.
Where does one go to magician school?
Well, I trained under a very famous magician named Neil Foster, who ran a program in Michigan at that time. He's since passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know of any formal school that's still around. Although I take that back. I think there may be a branch of that same school now on the West Coast.
Okay. So every once in a while I run into a young person, in the library or somewhere else, who's very, very fascinated by magic. And
I do private instruction
mm-hmm.
for magic students, and I have done workshops, including at libraries,
mm-hmm.
on magic. So that's one thing that I offer personally. But there are groups around, and there are magic clubs and organizations that people can.
Do we have one here in Central Illinois?
There is one in the Peoria area, the Peoria Magicians Assembly.
Oh, okay.
Which unfortunately I'm tied up on the evenings that they meet, so I'm not able to participate with them very often. But
they do exist.
Yeah, they do, and they're a very enthusiastic group, and they have a pretty solid membership. It's a good place to get started.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming, and I want to summarize for our audience again. I've been talking to Mitch Williams, who's a magician and an inspirational speaker, and he's one of 20 authors who will be at our Homegrown Holiday Author Fair, which is on December 9th at North Branch, which is out off Route 6 off Allen Road. There's a Google map on our website if you haven't been there yet. Just have to click and you can find it. And it's free and open to the public, and it's a great chance for you to come and shop, buy things support our local economy, our local authors, and get autographed books. A portion of the proceeds will go to the Friends of Peoria Public Library to support their programs. It's just one of the many, many things we have going on at Peoria Public Library in December. We have music in the Mackenzie. We'll have Kick to the Curb with Southside Johnny, who's from south of Springfield. We have all sorts of reading programs, movie programs. Over the vacation break for the kids, you'll find something going on almost every day, craft events, movie events, reading events. It's just a great place to be for your family. Lots of story times for the little ones, and all that information is on our website at peoriapubliclibrary.org. You'll also find many announcements of events on our Facebook page, so do friend us there, and you can find out what's going on. And of course, you can walk up to any desk and ask, and they'll be glad to tell you what we have going on. We'll see you next week on Information Please.